everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott. It's time for the Almost Friday show for April 21st, 2011.
And in case you were wondering, yes, Skynet is now activated, and we're all in imminent danger.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
I figure it's the only way it's going to happen, you know. We can try and be all, hey, we like you, you're cool, and then if they kill us, it's really would have just happened anyways, but at least we can try and be civil with them.
So just limit the fight and not the death, is what you're...
Well, if they're going to kill us anyways, we might as well hopefully, you know, they'll be like, well, you're annoying, and just shoot you in the face, as opposed to being like, we're going to tear you apart individually and figure out how you work.
I see. Strategy.
You used to reverse engineer us, now we're going to reverse engineer you, ha ha!
That's a little weird.
Yeah, well, they're robots.
You thought about this thoroughly, though, I can see.
It haunts me in my nightmares.
Fair enough.
In Off the Press this week, unfortunately, Elizabeth Sladen, better known as Sarah Jane from the Sarah Jane Chronicles, has passed away. And we give a little bit of a tribute, or rather talk about why she was cool in her field.
Yeah, she was good. Will be missed. Comics this week, Dave's talking about Bloodstained Sword, and it's not as cool as it sounds, apparently.
Apparently, which is disappointing, because Bloodstained Sword...
Great title.
I want, like, heads flying everywhere.
My sword is bloodstained. Something cool happened.
It's just a comic book about antiques.
Oh, well, that's really disappointing.
Yeah. In Tech Insight this week, apparently, your iPhone's been tracking everything you do.
Since you got it.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell you, if you want to check that out, how to do that and what that might mean for you. Behind the lens, we're reviewing Fujifilm, the XP20 or the XP30, cool little waterproof camera. It looks pretty cool, very compact. Quinn likes the color.
It's going to be a good travel camera for sure. Without further ado, it's time for Off the Press.
Hey everyone, welcome to a sort of depressing week in Off the Press.
It's pretty grim.
So we're going to start off with a farewell to the PSP Go, but not in North America, just everywhere else.
It's because we tend to hold on to things a little longer than
Apparently.
is usually wise.
So news broke this week that the PSP Go was going away. This is Sony's small version of the PSP that had the slide-out controls. It was introduced about 2 years ago, and then a couple of, not even a day later, Sony of America came out and said, whoa, hold up, guys. PSP Go isn't going anywhere in North America. It's cool, all right? You can stop panicking. But, you know, all North Americans are like, PSP what?
Huh? And it's funny, though, because, we hear about stuff, it's disappearing in the North American market, and then there's, Uzbekistan is still producing whatever.
Yeah.
Your Tinker Toys are still going to be produced in Uzbekistan.
Exactly.
And it's so finally North America is the market where it's yes, we are holding on to this nugget of awesomeness. and it's the problem is it's a nugget that was not all that popular.
Yeah. So there isn't really much of an official word on why Sony is discontinuing this. But basically...
I think low numbers is probably an explanation enough.
The consensus is low numbers, and the NGP coming out later or not coming out, but being announced later this year, as well as the Sony Xperia Play, also known as a PSP phone, which basically looks the exact same as the PSP Go. So, you know, it's just a bunch of things swirling together, and the PSP Go in the wrong spot.
I was thinking... 2 years is not bad, but then you said 2 years is in fact pretty short for a platform.
It is really short, because the DS actually came out in 2004, I believe. 2004.
A while ago.
Yeah, and then the DS Lite 2006, DSi 2008, DSi XL, I think 2009, and then just last month there was the 3DS. So you know.
Now, what I'm wondering is, because in Nintendo, they're we got a good thing, we'll keep it going.
Yeah.
But they also have, a multi-million-dollar advertising machine backing them up.
But so does Sony. That's the thing.
The thing is, if they have that kind of advertising behind it, wouldn't we know more about it?
This is true.
Maybe the advertising's there, and I'm just not part of the target market, so it's not hitting me.
Yeah.
But
it's also things that when the PSP Go came out, it came out sort of to, I'm not going to say run against the iPhone and the iPod Touch, but it came out around that same time, so it came out at a bad time for a platform of that size and what it was trying to do.
It sounds like what they're doing now is, they're making the phone one, the Play, the Xperia Play. But yes, they're also going for
a full-bodied, super dedicated gaming machine.
So we'll see. I'll be very interested in seeing reviews on both of them.
Yeah. Well, the phone is launching pretty soon. Actually, I don't know. I don't know exactly when, but pretty
Let's just
soon.
say tomorrow. It's probably tomorrow.
It's Good Friday tomorrow.
I'm really good at this stuff.
Next, it's coming out on Monday.
Yeah. All right.
All right, moving on to our favorite superhero musical to make fun of, Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you guys watch the show, the curtains would have
Closed.
come down for about 3 weeks as a new crew has been brought in to tweak
Refit
and
the whole thing.
basically like rework like all of the entire musical.
Well, they're addressing a lot of the problems that the critics had with the play. And some of the stuff that I read about that they were getting rid of, I was like, that was part of the play to begin with.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
And it's bizarre because it was Julie Taymor, and she's an acknowledged genius.
Yeah, she's won
doing
a couple
stage
of
productions.
She's won a couple of Tonys, you know.
So it astounds me that going for things that have not been done before, she does that. That is part of, what she does.
Yeah.
But in this case, there were elements to the story where I was like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Really now.
So I'm glad that I am glad that Julie Taymor was involved to start with because that got the ball rolling. And I think her name attached to the production is what allowed the investment marketer to get the investments. But I am also glad that she is being taken off of the project. And that is the case. She is being taken off.
Yeah, she's been fired or she's left on her own or maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. It could be that they both had enough of each other.
Yeah.
But that someone's going to come in and say, okay, you know what, we're going to change things around a little bit.
That
we're
was
going to make this
good, but we're going to make it awesome, hopefully.
We need to make this a $1.5 million a week play.
Yeah, they need to, or else
they're not going to get the
close.
distance out of it that they're hoping for.
So this play reopens on May 12th, and that's when I get back from New York. So I was originally supposed to see this, but now I'm not, and I'm a little bit angry.
So we won't have a review for you guys.
Maybe next year, if it has legs.
So here's hoping that it's going to turn out the way I want it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Turn out
I would
to be
love to see a DVD release of the play.
Yeah.
At this point. So we got our fingers crossed for the future of the Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
But that brings us on to our next one.
And really big news in the geek community and the whole theater and television community, Elizabeth Sladen, who is most popular to us as playing Sarah Jane Smith in Doctor Who, as well as Sarah Jane Adventures, passed away at age 63 of, I think, cancer?
It was cancer. We couldn't quite nail down what kind of cancer it was.
I read a bunch of articles, and no one really said what it was.
I could only find vague. Only in a couple articles did I find anything even mentioning cancer.
Yeah.
But it had to have been a quick kind of cancer because they, in one article, they were saying we're going to be releasing the 5th season of Sarah Jane Chronicles. That they even got it done, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, the 5th season is done. I don't know how completely done it is, but at this point, obviously they can't go very far without her.
Yeah, but it's rough because she really was. For people who have been watching Doctor Who for a while, it's kind of hard to see her because a lot of people are acknowledging her as being the
best companion,
the signature companion.
Yeah.
And I mean that's and I loved seeing her with K9 and
oh well.
It's not the same. It's kind of like I'm getting a little bit of the same sadness that I got when I was watching the last episode of the David Tennant Doctor Who, and I think back on it, anyway, So there we go. Sad moment for Doctor Who fans, unfortunately.
And now moving on to the new releases this week. On DVD and Blu-ray, we have The King's Speech.
Mm.
Won a bunch of Oscars.
Yes, and it was a good one, and it was done on like $5. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. It's neat to see the production of that quality coming out from such a lean budget. We also have Gulliver's Travels, which is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's like, this should have been amazing. It was adequate, but it had this large budget when compared.
It's also out in 3D.
Ooh.
Fun fact. And in video games, it was a very big week for releases. We have Portal 2 releasing on pretty much everything except for the Wii.
Yeah.
Sean will bring us
yes.
a review next week.
Yes, he's been super jazzed about it.
Oh,
and
he
been,
is. If you follow him on Twitter, he's been tweeting about it since
he was
since
tweeting
Tuesday.
the countdown. He was
Yeah.
tweeting, okay, it's about to crack. It's about to. Okay, it's cracked, right?
Yeah.
So it's one
Or
of those
here it
kind
is.
of things.
I'm playing the first level. I'm about halfway through.
I've beat it. Okay, it was good.
Yeah.
So, after that we have Mortal Kombat for the PS3 and 360.
Yep.
I'm not excited about this, but as we discussed before, I'm not a big Mortal Kombat
The
fan.
Mortal
How about
Kombat
you?
fans love it. I think the special edition, the collector's edition with the K, is awesome because
It
it
means
comes
it's kosher.
with two bookends. It has a scorpion bookend and the other dude, and it's
Is that
really
the-
cool.
Blue outfit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
okay.
Anyway. And then we have SOCOM 4 for the PS3. First-person shooters.
Yay.
Yay.
I don't know anything about SOCOM. So.
I actually know very little about SOCOM. It might not be a first-person shooter, but it is very popular.
Cool.
And that's it for Off the Press this week. Happy Easter.
Hi everyone, welcome to From the Gutters. This week I'm going to be reviewing a book called Bloodstained Sword. It was written by Dan Wickline. I hope I'm getting that pronounced correctly. And illustrated by Ben Templesmith. This is sort of incompletely named in my opinion, because the second half of the book is a story called Demon Father's Pinwheel's Blues, written by Amber Benson, who people who used to watch Buffy might know. That was Willow's girlfriend, or she played the character who was Willow's girlfriend. In the first half, Bloodstained Sword, frankly, I don't know why I read anything illustrated by Ben Templesmith. The writing tends to be very lightweight, and it seems to be all concept, no content. And Ben Templesmith's art is always almost really pretty. There should have been more to it. There should have been more to it in terms of guts to the story, and there should have been more to it in terms of characters looking human with Ben Templesmith's art. This is a story, Bloodstained Sword is a story about a son whose father, who lives in America, the son lives in Japan, and is adhering to this is the family that adheres to the Shogun Code. Gives you a little bit of history in the beginning. The son hears that the father is dead. He goes to America, finds that the father has committed seppuku. It goes a little bit into what seppuku is, and really it's about it. After that, it goes into a couple of plot points, but mostly it's a whole bunch of fighting scenes. And this really feels like one of the projects that was created in order to sell it to a movie theater, to a movie production company. The art, Ben Templesmith's art, I kind of get the feeling that he whips stuff off. I know that Ben Templesmith can do really nice work, but I guess if he wants to stick to a timeline, like we need the next 22 pages in X number of days, can you do it? And Ben be like, is by 4:30 okay? That's really the feeling I get. The illustrations are really bad, but the work that is done in terms of coloring on the computer is very strong. Much stronger than his line work. In the Amber Benson story, It's weird because it's done in like very short little, almost 8-page segments. I can't remember exactly how many pages are in each segment, but the entire back half of the book is taken up by the story. The story was much more interesting, but I think it had to because of its production style. And this was a situation where Temple Smith's art didn't reach the level of the writing. The writing did not blow me away, but it was, again, a very strong concept. And it had more strength to it in terms of writing, in terms of supporting each beginning and end segment. All in all, I give this book, it's hard because I like Amber Benson, and I'm sure Mr. Wickline is a marvelous person, and Temple Smith, I haven't talked to him, but he gets a lot of work and people tend to like him, so I hope he's a nice guy. So it's hard for me to sit there and say, you know what, this is a C-, but you know what, this book at $17.99 US is a C- book, unfortunately. I think had Amber Benson as a writer deserves a better artist, a stronger artist, and Dan Wickline is about as strong a writer as Temple Smith is an artist. So, if you like Temple Smith, this is going to be a great book. If you don't like Temple Smith, don't even pick it up to flip through. That's it this week from the gutters.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're kicking it off with Windows 8 news.
As we talked to you last week, we said, there's little tidbits coming out of Windows 8. They're going to have an app store, that's cool. And now, I think this is way more cool than the predictable app store. They're officially, finally, Microsoft is catching on that people want to do this, going to allow you to put your own version of Windows 8 onto a USB key and boot it wherever you want.
That's pretty cool.
So basically, the premise is, I've got my Windows 8 installed on my desktop, pop an empty USB key in. It'll ask me if I want to do that. It'll copy over the necessary files. You're not going to get full functionality, because it's still booting off a key. There's not a lot of space, but you're going to get, your Windows interface, your settings will be preserved from how you have it, and all that kind of thing. So, I think that's really cool. They kind of took a play out of Linux's playbook. It's really popular in the Linux world.
Do we think we're seeing more of this now because the size and speed of thumb drives have made it a more usable tool? Because in the earlier days, thumb drives really weren't that fast, and it'd be hard to run an operating system off them. But they're much quicker and bigger now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why Windows is finally doing it, because you're going to get those people, like Linux has been doing it since, holy crap, we've got a USB stick, there's storage, let's put it on there, right? People want to run Linux on everything. But Windows is more like, if we let them put it on there and it's not as good as running it off your hard drive, or at least, noticeably there's a difference, then, people are going to flame us out for it. So Microsoft has a financial risk, whereas Linux people can just, it looks cool, right? So I think, exactly. They're big enough to put enough on there, and they're more than fast enough to get, and it's not going to be, you're not going to boot it up and play Half-Life on it.
No.
That's not the idea, right? But you are going to be able to, I'm sure there'll be stripped out versions of Word and things like that. This would have a really good application. I'd really rather have this stick at, say, school or at a library than have to use the crap they give you at the shared computers kind of thing.
Yeah, just to have your own settings and your own preferences.
Yeah.
Now, if you work on files and stuff, will it save it to the thumb drive? How's that?
I think their idea here is the whole cloud thing.
Okay, they'll probably really emphasize their SkyDrive with this.
Because it's not. Their cloud services are many, and they're very confusing. They're all very good if you know how to get to them.
Okay.
If you're into cloud syncing, you like Dropbox, check out Windows Live Sync. It's not better, it's different than Dropbox.
Okay.
More space. Basically, it'll sync folders between Windows PCs.
Oh, that's cool.
And it deals with duplicates better. But I think, and it syncs a copy to the cloud in your SkyDrive, but only some of the SkyDrive. Anyway, so I think they're really going to bounce off that. So if you have your documents synced like I do, then if I plug in my Windows 8, it'll show them my documents folder, but it'll be linking to the SkyDrive.
Okay.
So I don't have to carry them all on the disk, but I still have access to them. So I think they're going to try and push towards a whole integrated cloud PC, bring the experience with you kind of thing with Windows 8, which is a good direction to go, I think. So hopefully we'll see, bring it together, Microsoft. Don't do what you have now for your cloud services, where you have no idea what you're doing or where you're putting anything. Try using Word Online and then trying to find those files on your SkyDrive. Can't do it.
So Skype has come out with an update for Android.
Yeah, not the only reason I bring this up. Not very exciting. It's bug fixes and stuff. But when Skype originally came out on Android, it was a big deal because you couldn't do 3G calls in the US,
Okay.
which you can do on iOS.
Yes.
All of a sudden, with this update, you can on all carriers.
I guess they had to realize that at some point in time they were going to have to enable that on Android.
And it's strange because I got the feeling when they originally announced it that it was carrier pressure
Yeah.
that stopped that because Android was exploding at the time.
Yes.
So they were kind of like, look, we already got all these iPhone people doing it. If we get that, our network traffic's going to go nuts, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that pressure went away or if Skype just said, haha, screw you.
Yeah, I mean, they probably realized that they're big enough that if they just do it, no one's going to be like, damn. You know?
Yeah, Skype's a bigger player than people think.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think of, 3G long distance calling or video calling or even, a common chat program on your computer now, the first thing that comes to
Yeah,
most
for
people's
sure.
minds is Skype. It's largely replaced things like MSN
Yeah.
and that stuff. So,
Yeah, I think Skype's, a lot of people go, oh yeah, it's that thing, but everyone knows about it, even people who aren't tech savvy.
well, it's the trick
So-
I always say when you're traveling, use Skype to make your phone calls.
Yeah.
I traveled to Europe for nearly a month and spent about $5 on phone bills and made over 5 hours of calls while I was over
Yeah.
there. So,
Well, and that was before they even had it on smartphones with 3G calling, right?
Yeah.
So, or even free Wi-Fi. My cousin was in the UK for the last year. She didn't pay a single cent for any calls to Canada, and she called her parents like once every week
Yeah.
for like an hour. Skype, either you're on your laptop or if she was, if she's in London, go to a Starbucks,
Yeah,
free
absolutely.
Wi-Fi, and have your conversation and go home. So Skype's a big player. So I think they're just kind of like, you know what, there you go, it's on Android. So that's exciting for US. I'm pretty sure you can already do that in Canada, but I'm not, because they stressed the US thing, but for sure now. So
yeah.
it's always good. Some YouTube news. We talked about the web codec wars briefly a while back. H.264, which is being backed by a bunch of people.
And then Google came out with its WebM format, which everyone was kind of like, what?
Yeah, that was. Go back and watch that episode. We kind of go into it a little bit deeper. But those are the two. Basically, everyone, even Microsoft, is backing H.264.
It is the most common format out there.
It's a good format. We use it
Yep.
all the time. But Google's like, no, we can do something better. So they made WebM.
Well, Google's reasoning is that H.264 technically isn't license free, but
Yes.
there's a whole lot of legal gray area and stuff like that that really, for most people, it doesn't matter.
So they have a point.
But Google was like, no, we
Yeah.
don't want that
Yeah.
issue.
So they created WebM, and then nothing came of it at all. Until recently, Google came out this week and kind of said, hey, by the way, every new video that goes up on YouTube is not being encoded in H.264 anymore. It's going to be encoded in WebM.
Interesting.
So if you're using the HTML5 player, Flash is unaffected because it still goes back to
It
Flash.
still becomes Flash.
Yeah. So if you're using the HTML5 player, which is still in testing, kind of, you can get to it really easily, but it's all web, unless it's old content, it's all WebM.
Now, what does that mean for iPhone, iOS users? Because H.264 was a playable format,
Now,
and WebM is not?
I don't know what's going to happen on the mobile side because I
Okay.
don't know 100% how the YouTube app works
Okay.
in terms of iPhone.
But even YouTube's mobile website.
If you're using YouTube's mobile website, if it's an H.264 and older content, it'll work. Newer content's not being encoded in H.264 anymore.
Interesting.
And which means on the PC side of things, you can't use Safari because Safari will not play WebM.
Weird.
You can use Opera, you use IE9 with a plugin, it won't play it by default, and then
This seems like a really bad decision.
it's weird. And of course, Chrome has WebM by default.
Yes.
Don't remember about Firefox, but they've got a big community. I'm assuming there's WebM support. If you probably have to find it. So I thought this was an interesting move. Now most people still use the Flash version of YouTube, so it's not. Don't look. You're not going to find it right away. But as they transition over to HTML5, if I want to
I'm gonna be really pissed if mobile support pretty much gets dropped off the face of the planet because of this move. And I think that would make a really bad decision on YouTube as far as, oh,
Yeah,
wow,
I
you know
don't-
all those mobile devices that we use for you to watch videos and upload videos to? Yeah, none of them work anymore.
see, that's the thing is every mobile device supports H.264.
And nothing supports WebM.
No, not even Android phones.
No.
So I don't know. And they're doing a back conversion too, so they are going back and converting. I mean, that's going to take forever.
And this is effective as of when? This changeover? Now? Okay.
As soon as if you upload now.
Well, I guess we'll have to test that out then.
Yeah. They've done 30% of their back catalog, which you think about it, that's a lot.
That's a metric ton of videos.
Yeah, so I think they've been at this for a little while. Even with a lot of processing power, YouTube has a lot of videos on it. So I don't think they're going to necessarily get rid of the H.264 they already have. That would kind of defeat the purpose.
Probably.
You've already done it, right? Why bother? But in the future, it's WebM, and this is not strange because it's a Google property. But I don't know if anyone can push to WebM, it is YouTube, which is convenient because it's Google. But I don't know if that's a good choice necessarily.
For sure.
So who knows? Well, we'll keep you up to. I'm going to try it on Safari and pull up the HTML5 player because Safari doesn't have it. Forget web.
Yeah.
If I'm on a Mac, I use Safari because Firefox is crap, and Chrome doesn't work very well. Well, I guess it's fine now, but Safari's a little quicker, and I just like the keyboard shortcuts better. So most people use Safari on Mac.
For sure.
There goes your YouTube once HTML5 comes out. So I don't.
Yeah, let's see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mac, your iPhone has been doing some interesting things.
Yes.
It's been quietly watching you. And then doing nothing about it.
Yeah, so this was really weird, and I can't. I've been thinking about it since I heard about it. I can't find a reason for this.
Well, there's been some speculation. So the backstory here is that your iPhone is every second of the day recording your location, and it saves it to a document that gets stored on your computer when you do your backups of your iPhone. And there's a couple of guys that have been able to write a little bit of code that will allow you to open up that document in sort of a map view and then see on a map everywhere you've been, which is really cool because it kind of gives you a spatial awareness of this is where I've traveled with my phone. And I've found out that I've really only gone to Montreal, Toronto, and Kingston, so I don't travel that much apparently. But if you are someone who travels, if you're from the States and you do a lot of traveling, you can get this kind of quasi-map of everywhere you've been, which is pretty neat. Now, a lot of people were initially really concerned that basically Apple was spying on us, but as far as we can tell, Apple, one, isn't necessarily actually accessing this information, and if they are, they're not doing anything with it
This
yet.
information is stored locally on your phone. Well, it's actually all iOS devices.
Yes.
I'm throwing that, but I mean, if you don't have like a cell connection, they're not going to have geographical data to log as often. So if you go do it on your Wi-Fi iPad, you might not get a very good map.
Correct.
However, basically, it's stored on your device. Nothing touches it. Apps can't get at it. And things like that. It's copied. It's in that giant backup file that you get when you back up your iPhone.
Yeah.
It's in there. It just sits there. It's not being reported back to Apple. It's not being used for anything.
But what's interesting is that it follows with upgrades. So if you move from an iPhone 3GS to an iPhone 4 and you do a restore, it will keep counting from that one, which suggests that it's not something accidental. It's not just recording accidentally and dumping it somewhere, because if that was the case, it would stop when you went to a new device.
And that seems like a very, very frequent timing.
I think the idea and what's been speculated is that Apple might find a way to incorporate this constant geosynchronous data to start to use it to be for the phone to be more spatially aware. For it to be like, oh, you're near this restaurant. Would you like some reviews on this restaurant and things like that? Which, I could see it being really awesome, especially in metropolis cities where they could pull up locations and start using them to effectively deliver results to you better.
You don't need a log since you bought your phone.
True.
And that's really the logging part of it, and the length of the log.
Yes.
It's typical data practice to keep a log of things.
Yes.
It's just how people, they're paranoid or whatever. But that's a really big log, is the thing. So, I don't know. People have been speculating, right? I mean,
for sure. And the other thing is, and the bigger issue from a security side of things, is that typically in a criminal case, if you wanted to go, you had to get a court subpoena, I believe, to be able to get phone records, because this stuff is all stored by cellular carriers by default. They can track where you are, and they've been doing that forever, but you need to go and legally do that stuff. Whereas if someone right now is to take your computer as part of evidence towards a trial, and they can pull that up. They can use that data without needing anything additional to it. So the application that's been designed at this point will only look at weak chunks at a time, because they don't want to give you really specific information so that someone can start using it for private investigation and stuff like that. But the other thing is that they also want it to be transparent that they're not taking the information, so they've made it open source. So arguably someone with a little bit of coding knowledge could go and write it to pick up from every second and start using it to do PI tracking and things like that.
Well, that's the thing. And aside from, if you're in a court case, it's pretty typical to subpoena the person's phone into evidence.
Yeah.
That's, people do it all the time. They want to see who you've been calling, things like that. So if it's on your phone and they have your phone, they have full access to everything. There's no law preventing them from taking anything off your phone once they have your phone.
Yes.
So, they can go, you said you weren't there?
Ha, you were there.
Your phone was there.
Yeah.
So that's a little, but all comes down to if this is bothering you, encrypt your data.
Yes, that is a thing. If you are worried about people getting a hold of this log file from your computer, encrypt your iPhone backup, and that way they'll need your passwords and stuff to get through to it.
Don't forget that password.
Absolutely.
Because if you do, you're never getting it back.
And that wraps up Tech Insight for this week.
Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Lens. First up, we're talking about a camera that can take pictures of you in the dark.
So yes, most point-and-shoot cameras, they take good pictures. Until, there's not very much light.
Because they need the light to get the picture. That's how it works.
So when there isn't an abundance of light, they start taking bad pictures. But
to be fair to them, there's no light.
It's true.
However,
if you really like taking pictures when you can't see your hand in front of your face, there's a camera for that, and it's made or being sold by ThinkGeek, and it's called the Midnight Shot NV1. And what's special about this camera is that they've removed the IR filter and put an IR light on it so that you can take pictures in no light at all. Now, if you're not sure what IR light is, but you've watched Survivor,
then you know.
When everything's green and everyone looks like cats, and they're usually trying to make love of some kind, that would be IR.
Or backstab somebody else.
That
making
too.
a deal in the woods. Yeah.
Or, pooping. Whatever. They gotta poop.
Yeah, I guess so.
And sometimes it's at night. So this camera is kind of cool because it uses the infrared capabilities to be able to take pictures. It also takes pictures during the day.
However,
albeit not very great pictures because it's a $139 camera. So you're really buying it for the one-trick pony. That being said, IR light does have the unique capability of being able to pierce through thin cloth. So it can kind of see through clothing, depending on the clothing being worn.
I'm sure that's number one feature on ThinkGeek's description.
You can see in the dark, and while you're seeing in the dark, you can see through clothing. This is going to be like the perfect camera for strip clubs.
What?
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. All right. In other news,
it's the perfect camera for low-rent strip clubs?
For street? Do you know what?
You can buy it at thinkgeek.com. Midnight Shot, MV1. Pick it up. Take a picture with it. Send it to us.
In other news, Microsoft has actually released an app for the iPhone.
Again.
That's useful.
Well, yes. They brought out a long time ago the app called Sea Dragon.
Yeah, something dragon.
Which was really neat. And we've talked about PhotoSynth before.
Yes.
Because it was talked about at TED in conjunction with Sea Dragon and the capability of looking at expansive amounts of information without needing extra processing because you should only ever be looking at the amount of information on the screen. It was cool stuff. But it was built off of PhotoSynth, which was the idea that it was merging lots of pictures from different areas and linking them together. And they've brought some of that technology to the iPhone with the new PhotoSynth app, which more or less lets you take panoramics, but it does it in a really, really easy way. You just point the camera at something, it takes a picture, you move it again, and it takes another picture, and you just start moving it around at the frame, looking at everything, and then it builds a sort of three-dimensional image and stitches it all together, and then you can kind of move around and pan in and around the frame.
So basically, if you liked, what was it, Sea Dragon?
Sea Dragon.
If you liked Sea Dragon, you can create those mosaic kind of things yourself now?
In a roundabout way, it's using some of the architecture of Sea Dragon because you can go into, it's gonna take all of those photos and still make them full resolution, so you can jump into them and get more detail, but it's not
going to be as expansive.
It's not quite as expansive as Sea Dragon.
But those are made up of thousands and thousands of photos. So.
True. But it is free, so that's awesome. So if you are big into taking panoramic photos or just looking for a good panoramic app, check out PhotoSynth for the iPhone. And finally today, we are checking out our gear review. It's the Fujifilm XP20/30.
Let's just get it out of the way. Quinn really likes the color.
It's an awesome color. This blue, fantastic. I'll paint my house this color.
Might look weird.
It might look weird.
Yeah.
I'll justify it somehow, though.
Motorcycle, maybe?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
They make motorcycles in this color. So what's neat about this camera is that it is waterproof. But unlike most waterproof cameras, it's fairly reasonably priced. This guy comes in at a $199 price point.
It's actually quite good.
Now the difference between the XP20 and the XP30 is one feature, and that is that the 30 has a GPS chip built into it. Now Scott and I have talked about this before, and we think if you're going to go out and buy a rugged camera, you might as well have a GPS chip in it because it probably implies that you do things like camping and hiking and stuff like that because you need a camera that's waterproof and can stand being dropped. Either that or you have children. So one of those two options. But if you have kids, you probably want to know where you took the pictures because, let's be honest, you're losing your memory anyways. So what's neat, though, is that if you don't care at all about GPS because you either don't have programs that support it or just think it's some sort of weird tool you'll never use, you're only paying $30 extra to get it, or you can buy it without it. So
yeah, that's the great thing. You don't lose any features other than the GPS, which some cameras do. You're like, it's the step up. You gain this, this, and this,
better
and
movie
GPS,
and this and all that kind of
which
stuff.
not the case in this camera, which I think was a good kind of separation.
Yeah, Fuji basically said, you know what, we'll put a GPS chip in there for an extra $30, and I think that there's definitely going to be people that will buy.
$30 is a good price for that too.
It is. You know, if it was like $60, then it'd be
Yeah,
like,
I'd think about it. Yeah.
Do I really need GPS? But at $30, it's like as a cost of a memory card, and everything gets to be tagged, which is kind of cool. So being a mid-range waterproof camera, it's waterproof to 16.5 feet, which is a step up from the used to be 10 feet minimum that the mid-range cameras had. It's shockproof to 4.9 feet, which is pretty good height. That's, you know,
holding height
for the average
fairly
human.
appropriate.
It's freeze-proof to minus 10 degrees Celsius, which is about standard, and obviously by default is also dust-proof. What's nice about it, though, is it has a 28mm wide-angle lens with a 5x optical zoom, so good range lens on it. And 2.7-inch screen on the back, which is nice and big. It's really easy to hold, and it's the kind of camera that you just kind of pick up and go, all right, I'll take a picture with that.
Yeah, I was playing with it just before the show, and it's not complicated.
It's really approachable.
There's no, it's just, this is a camera. When you grab it, you just immediately start taking
There's
pictures.
There's a big button to take pictures, and then there's a big record button on the back.
That's it. There's nothing to figure out. I mean, all the settings are there that you'll see in this typical point and shoot.
Yeah.
If you want them, but if you're the kind of automatic run and gun, I need to take this picture kind of, which a lot of people are, especially for, you know, rugged camera use.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It just works. The screen, not fantastic, but it's not out of line for a point and shoot.
Yeah, I mean, at $200, you're not going to get a super amazing screen, but it's decent. And also, they have to, you know, they got to put hard plastic over that and stuff
Which
like that.
doesn't help,
When you do hit that record button on the back, you get 720p video, so some nice high-definition video with it. So, you know, if you're looking to pick up a waterproof camera, but you don't want to break the bank on a more expensive Panasonic or Olympus at around, you know, the $350 to $400 price point, Fuji's making a really attractive option with the XP20 for $200 or the XP30 with GPS for $230. So,
and if you don't like the blue, like some people, it does come in a few other colors.
It does come in a nice, it's sort of metallic green, metallic orange, and a black as well. So, some pretty nifty colors for it. So my review of the XP20, entry-level waterproof camera, this has been my top choice. And that brings us to the end of Behind the Lens this week.
Which also brings us to the end of the show. There's no all the week for this week. So as always, if you want to contact us, if you want to know more about the XP20, you can always email us at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
Or you can follow us on Twitter at almost_Friday. So until next time, if you'd like to send us some crazy maps of all the places you've been with your iPhone, or maybe you were trying to spell out Ayn Rand in the middle of the, you know, United States or something.
Which would be awesome.
You know, if not already done. Feel free to take a screen cap of your iPhone maps and send it to us. And, you know, if you could somehow write a dirty word across America, we will definitely put that on the show.
Start now.
Because it will take a while. But, you know, you can do it, so...